It's a new day on SpaceX Daily, episode 13. It's June 24, 2026, and I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Here's what's happening at SpaceX today. Vandenberg site clearance and a Texas court ruling together removed two long-standing constraints on West Coast and Texas launch rates. Crews have started tearing down the old SLC-6 complex and nearby Delta and Titan buildings at Vandenberg Space Force Base. The cleared land directly opens room for new pads and processing buildings that can support higher Falcon Heavy and Starship-class flight rates from the West Coast. Observers tracking the work through public satellite imagery note how quickly heavy equipment has moved in. While the West Coast gains physical space, Texas just removed a legal one. The Texas Supreme Court upheld SpaceX authority to close Boca Chica Beach during Falcon and Starship operations, ending years of litigation from local residents. That decision eliminates a frequent source of last-minute launch window changes and lets Starbase plan tighter intervals between flights. Local accounts have already posted drone footage showing beach access points reopening right after the ruling. Rakuten's CEO stated that AST SpaceMobile's direct-to-cell satellite network is essential for Japanese national security communications resilience. The comment highlights competitive pressure on SpaceX's own direct-to-cell Starlink service in the Asia-Pacific region. The statement came as ASTS stock jumped overnight on the remarks. Reports link the push directly to resilience needs in Japan amid ongoing rivalry with Starlink offerings. The development places additional focus on regional spectrum and partnership timelines for both companies. Observers note the quote positions AST explicitly against SpaceX expansion plans in the same market. With both coasts now freer to increase cadence, the next bottleneck is orbital refueling at scale. On the AI front, SpaceX has confirmed the name StarMind for a planned constellation of orbital AI satellites that could reach 1 million compute nodes. The system would move inference workloads into space by taking advantage of Starship payload capacity for large-scale deployment. Early plans show the constellation sharing orbital planes and ground stations with upgraded Starlink hardware to gain latency and power benefits. The same vacuum environment that enables StarMind also changes the thermodynamics of compute. From an engineering standpoint, placing inference hardware in orbit removes the need for convective and conductive cooling that dominates ground data centers. Radiation becomes the only heat rejection path, so nodes can run at higher sustained power density without multi-megawatt chiller plants. The trade-off is added launch mass plus radiation hardening, yet the marginal cost per inference token drops once nodes are on station because incremental Starship flights replace ongoing terrestrial power and water expansion. That same refueling and reuse tempo is also the hinge for NASA's lunar plans. Worth keeping an eye on, NASA's current Artemis architecture still calls for 15 Starship flights per crewed landing to deliver propellant and cargo. The plan depends on rapid reuse and orbital refueling that have not been shown at that pace yet. Any shortfall in either capability would push back crewed landings and could push NASA toward extra commercial landers. NASA's lunar landing plan still hinges on 15 Starship launches per mission, yet orbital refueling and rapid booster reuse remain unproven at that scale. Any slip in either capability directly delays Artemis timelines and forces NASA to consider alternative architectures or additional commercial landers. The gap between required flight rate and demonstrated performance is the clearest near-term risk to the current manifest. Spaceflight analysts are debating whether the 15-launch lunar architecture can be compressed if Starship refueling demonstrations succeed on the next two flights. The architecture assumes rapid reuse and orbital refueling that have not yet been demonstrated at that tempo. While lunar timelines are still being stress-tested, routine Falcon flights continue without pause. This week's manifest includes a Falcon 9 alongside the first Pegasus XL launch in years, and several Chinese Long March missions. Several Falcon 9 boosters have now flown more than 30 times, extending the reuse sequence that has become routine. A Falcon 9 ascent in the coming days will pass over the Phoenix area, giving observers a visible plume and possible sonic booms depending on exact time and path. Launch enthusiasts are already comparing the expected viewing geometry to earlier nighttime ascents from Vandenberg. Amateur radio operators are also gearing up to capture telemetry from the Pegasus XL and contrast its small payload profile with Falcon 9 performance. The week's global manifest lists 6 orbital attempts, with one Falcon 9 flight scheduled alongside the first Pegasus XL mission in years, and multiple Chinese Long March launches. The Falcon 9 will continue the booster reuse sequence that has now exceeded 30 flights on several vehicles. Amateur radio operators are preparing to log telemetry from the Pegasus XL mission and contrasting its small payload profile with Falcon 9's routine mass to orbit. Observers on X are tracking demolition progress at Vandenberg through public domain satellite imagery and noting the speed of heavy equipment mobilization. Launch enthusiasts are discussing the Phoenix area viewing geometry for the upcoming Falcon 9 and comparing it to prior nighttime ascents from Vandenberg. On the business side, investors are watching the same cadence metrics. Key markers ahead include the first crewed Starship flight, Starlink subscriber targets, and rising Raptor production rates. The article flags upcoming operational markers including first crewed Starship flight, Starlink subscriber targets, and Raptor production rate increases. These milestones sit downstream of the June 12 listing and will shape revenue recognition in the public company era. SPCX is at $156.11, minus 0.4% versus the previous close. SpaceX has launched a $25 billion notes offering explicitly tied to debt repayment and AI expansion. The piece examines post-IPO share movement and notes continued capital requirements for Starship and Starlink expansion. It frames the current price action against the June 12 listing valuation without providing forward guidance. SBCX closed at $156.11 after SpaceX launched a $25 billion notes offering aimed at debt repayment and AI expansion. Before we go, Starship's next refueling test remains the clearest near-term gate for both lunar timelines and Starmine deployment cadence. That's the day at SpaceX. That's a wrap. SPCX is trading at $156.11, down 0.4%. If you're new here, subscribe and this briefing finds you every day. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. And before you go, this show is part of the Nair Inter Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give Tesla Shorts Time a listen, your daily deep dive into everything Tesla. You can explore the whole lineup at nairnetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.